Commission for March 6, 2024. If we can have roll call, please.
Commissioner Gomez,
Here.
Commissioner Lopez,
Here.
Commissioner Jimenez,
Here.
Vice Chair Shively,
Here.
Chair Hammond.
Thank you. If we can have a brief moment of silence, followed by Pledge of Allegiance from Commissioner Gomez.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have no item 4, presentations, so we can move on to item 5, consent calendar. Does any commissioner wish to speak on or have any omissions and errors that we need to take care of for planning commission meeting minutes for 21st? No? No?
None for me.
Okay. Do we want to vote on the consent calendar, both item A and B, or would you like to pull item B separately for street names?
I would like to pull it.
Okay, thank you. So if we can make a motion for approval for item 5A. A motion from Commissioner Lopez, second from Commissioner Gomez.
Commissioner Gomez,
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Jimenez,
Yes.
Vice Chair Shively.
Yes.
With a vote of 4-0, this motion is approved.
For item 6A, it's going to be 5B. I'm jumping ahead. It's subject is street naming review 23-05311, a proposal to name 15 streets, tentative tract map number 37223, located at the northeast corner of Marietta Road and Green Valley Parkway in the Green Valley specific plan. Applicant is Patrick Parker.
Good evening, Vice Chair and Commissioners. We have applicant Patrick Parker submitting a street name review of 23-05311. The project site is located at northeast corner of Marietta Road and Green Valley Parkway. It is in the Green Valley specific plan. It is a previously approved tentative tract map 37223, and it is composed of 37.37 acres, previously approved, as I mentioned, and it is a subdivision of 235 single-family lots. The applicant is requesting street name approval for 15 streets in order to process the final map. The street names were named after mythical terms, and the names are as follow. For Street A, we have Willow Creek Lane. For Street B, we have Maple Glen Avenue. Street C, Nation Lane. Street D, Burrow Lane. Street E, Ollivander Street. Street F, Bishan Cove. Street G, Basilisk Avenue. Street H, Salamander Lane. Street I, Fortune Street. Street J, Lunar Street. Street K, Bengal Street. Street L, Cloud Street. Street M, Stellar Lane. Street N, Adler Avenue. and Street P, Seeker Lane. Staff recommends approval of the street names. This concludes staff presentation. Is there any questions or comments?
Not at this time, for me.
Thank you.
Is this where you make recommendations or just questions?
I believe we actually need open public comment as
Yes,
well.
right now is the period for questions to staff, and if the applicant has a presentation, then after that, we can open for public comment.
So these were named after mythical creatures? Is it?
Yes, mythical terms.
Mythical terms.
Does this applicant wish to do a presentation?
Not at the moment.
No. Any questions for staff? No? Okay. No? We'll open public comment. Anybody wishing to speak on this item? I'm just running through our list here. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close public comment and bring it to planning commissioners for discussions. Now's your chance.
No, you go. I don't have any comments.
Comments?
Yeah.
I would want to see if they would consider changing Street L from Cloud Street to Clearview Street.
To Clearview? Any others?
That was the only one.
I was looking at maybe changing Ollivander to Charmstone
Which one?
Street. It's Street D, no, excuse me, Street E
Oh, okay. To Bliss?
to Charmstone.
Okay.
Any others?
Can we do Street B, to Atlantis Avenue?
Yeah, I think I'm considering Street C, Armory Lane.
Any others?
No, that's fine.
You're fine. So we need to make a motion, to street naming review 2305311, a proposal to name the 15 streets within tentative tract map 3723, located at the northeast corner of Marietta Road and Green Valley Parkway in the Green Valley Pacific Plan. The changes are Street B to Atlantis, Suite Street C to Arbery, Street D to Charmstone, and Street L to Clearview. We can make a motion? C, Armory. We have a motion from Commissioner Lopez, second from Commissioner Jimenez.
Commissioner Gomez,
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Jimenez,
Yes.
Vice Chair Shively.
Yes.
With a vote 4-0, this motion is approved.
Moving down to item 6A. It's a tentative parcel map 2305-217, TPM 38820, a proposal to subdivide a 9.1 acre parcel into two parcels located at 1765 Watson Road. On the southwest corner of Watson Road and Trumbull Road, within the light industrial zone APN, 329-250-013. The applicant is Jan Jansen and soil retention products. Do we have any ex parte communications?
None for me.
None from me as well.
I've driven by the site several times. Okay, we can have presentation.
Good evening, Commissioners. Tonight we have tentative parcel map 38820, a proposal to subdivide a 9.1 acre parcel into 2 parcels. I would like to clarify that tonight's application is only for the subdivision, and no development is proposed as part of this application. The project site is located on the southwest corner of Watson Road and Trumbull Road in the light industrial zone. Currently, the northerly portion of the project site is developed with a manufacturing facility occupied by Soil Retention, Inc. The project site is surrounded by industrial development with outdoor storage across Watson Road in the city of Menifee to the north, industrial development with outdoor storage across Trumbull Road in the city of Menifee to the east, industrial development to the south, and a contractor storage yard to the west. In this picture, we see the project site from Watson Road looking south. In this picture, we see the project site from Trumbull Road looking west. Also, in this picture, you can see the existing manufacturing facility. The proposed subdivision complies with the development standards of the light industrial zone and the Paris Municipal Code. Here we see the tentative parcel map. Parcel 1 is shown in yellow and is 6.1 acres. It contains the existing manufacturing facility. Access to the parcel is taken via 2 existing driveways from Watson Road. And parcel 2 is shown in green. This is going to be 3.0 acres. And as previously mentioned, no development is proposed as part of this application. In the future, when they're ready to develop parcel 2, they will come back before you for approval. Therefore, staff recommends adoption of Resolution 2402 and finds the project categorically exempt from CEQA, Section 15315, Class 15, minor land subdivisions, and approving tentative parcel map 38820 based on the findings outlined in the resolution and subject to the conditions of approval. This concludes my presentation. I am available, and the applicant is also here tonight for any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Does the applicant wish to have a presentation?
Not at this time.
Thank you. Do we have questions for staff? This is a quiet group today.
I know, it's quite.
Hammond's gone and he's like shut down.
I just wanted to confirm with staff, you mentioned that the entire area is light industrial zoned as it is right now?
That is correct. The entire parcel is zoned light industrial. It's 9 acres.
And the part in red that's commercial, that's within the city of Paris as well?
That is correct. The yellow solid line here is the boundary line.
Is the parcel below it, or it looks like it's several, to the south in the commercial area, is that built out? There are a few buildings on there, right?
That is correct. There's a couple of parcels that are still vacant, but for the majority of the parcels are built out.
Are they vacant? I promise there's a reason for me asking.
So right on Illinois Avenue in Trumbull, there is a vacant lot. It hasn't been improved yet.
But those buildings that are in that corner, are they vacant? Are they, do they have tenants? Do we know?
I don't know.
Okay, that's just, I didn't think you would, but I just wanted to check. Okay. All right, that's it for me.
Is the whole lot being used right now by the manufacturing? It looks like they extend all the way to the south.
Yeah, they're currently using the entire lot. They were entitled to use the northerly portion. That is really all that they need. So now they're looking to subdivide so they can potentially sell or do something else with the southerly portion. But at this time, they do use the entire site.
Okay. 3,000 square feet is not very large for an industrial zone, correct? I mean, that's not an average lot size for a development. Or 3 acres, sorry.
Well, a small industrial building or even like a outdoor storage yard would definitely, probably just depending on the size of the business that is looking to utilize it. But I think that they can definitely do something in the 3 acres,
Okay.
maybe like a smaller
A
business.
smaller business. Thank you.
Okay. So does the applicant control or own any other parcels adjacent to this, or this is just the parcel, they only own this parcel only within this area?
He only owns this parcel.
They're subdividing it for future years for resale, or?
Yes, they hope to sell parcel 2 in the future.
And what is their current truck usage that they currently have?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
What do they use a lot of trucks, or what do they normally use on this parcel?
Would it be appropriate for the applicant to come in? Yeah. Mr. Vice Chair, maybe the applicant can respond to that question.
My name is Bennett Tamadi. I'm with Hunsaker and Associates. We're the civil engineers of the project. The truck usage of the site currently, I think it would only be to deliver probably material for manufacturing the concrete blocks that they manufacture, and probably just to ship the finished product to their customers.
Okay. So they normally use just the truck route that is allowed, I believe what's the current truck route? That area, we actually go down Trumbull to Ethneck? Or do we go north to Highway 74?
I think they generally go down south on Trumbull.
Okay.
I believe that's the path that they use.
I think that's the current path of travel for truck routes. Okay. Any further questions for staff or the applicant?
No.
Okay. Thank you. We'll open up for public comment at this time, and we do have one. We have Franco Pacheco.
Good evening, Commission. My name is Franco Pacheco. I was confused about this proposal, but now that they've presented it, I'm actually familiar with that area. And my only concern is that if they sell or divide it, that road is a really tore up road that goes into Highway 74. It's like literally all gravel. There's railroad tracks right there. And then to the east, I believe there's houses there. There's a residential area there that's still with residents living there. But to the south, there's Lanston Motorsports, I believe. And it's like a nice business park. It's not anything heavy. And my only concern is if they do a heavy industrial area there later on down the line with the project site, that it's going to worsen that area going into Highway 74 and the roads down to the south, because those roads are not in good condition as we speak right now. That's the only comments I have. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Any other member of public wishing to speak on this item, 6A? Please come forward and state your name.
My name's Michelle Rodriguez. I came here with my family tonight. I'm in the middle of having a miscarriage, and I'm supposed to be on bed rest, but this is really important. I need to stress to our leaders how badly we need a warehouse moratorium in the city of Paris for the sake of our health and especially for our children that are going to grow up here. They're going to be here far longer than what we are, so I think we should really take air quality into consideration. The Inland Empire has an air quality that has been decreasing throughout the years. I also feel that warehouses provide poor quality work, especially since automation is going to get rid of these jobs within the next decades, and the warehouses are going to be here longer than that. So I feel like this only benefits certain people, and it does not benefit the community of Paris. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other member of public who wishes to speak on this item? No? We're going to close public comment and bring it to the commissions for discussions.
Since the applicant is just asking for dividing the property, I don't see an issue with this, this item.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that in the future, if it is sold and the appropriate building is put on there, if it is developed, it hopefully bring a improvement to that area, to the street, which is what we would look forward to if this is done, pointing in the right direction. So, and I do appreciate our public comment as well. Thank you for making it out here, and we hear you. Thank you.
I just want to check the typos. This one says at the beginning it's a 9.1 acre, and then lower it says subdivide a 9.7 acre. So I just want to be consistent in our wording. Under the requested action, 9.1. And she
It should
read-
be
yeah.
9.1.
Okay. And then, yeah, and the presentation, I think we had 04, but you said 02. I just want to check the number, the TPM number, was it?
It's 02.
Okay, good.
24-02.
Okay, the presentation had 4, so I was like, oh, that's
Thank
interesting.
you.
Okay. Also, I want to thank our community for coming out and speaking on things that are very, very important to our community. We appreciate you being here and speaking up. Thank you.
I just think in the future, it's very important that we maintain that truck route to the south, and any improvements in areas that gets constructed, that it's actually constructed in the road north of Trumbull to the 74 is improved upon. But I think it's important that it's maintained, that the truck route is still maintained on the south side and going to Ethonac and up north to Trumbull. Other than that, it's just creating 2 lots, and as of now, and hopefully when that 3 acres does get sold off and developed, I hope it is a smaller warehouse community, and not, something that can be smaller for the mom and pop shops instead of, 3 acres is not going to be huge warehouses, but we're talking about 130,000 square feet or so, that it's not going to be a huge warehouse, if anything. So I'm hoping it's just more mom and pop shops that, that's basically is plumbing or electrical shops that, you know, they work out of it and store some trucks and stuff in the facility. So other than that, that's it. I don't see any issue with this action. So if we want to go ahead and make a motion, I will read this. The tentative parcel map 2505217, TPM 38820, a proposal to subdivide a 9.1 acre parcel to two parcels located at 1765 Watson Road on the southwest corner of Watson Road and Trumbull Road within the light industrial zone. APN is 329-250-013. And the requested action is adoption resolution of 24-02, approving tentative parcel map 2305217, TPM 38820, to subdivide a 9.1 acre parcel into two parcels based on the findings of the staff report and subject to the conditions of approval.
Pardon me, can the condition of approval be that as long as the truck route in the future continues to be towards the south? Because I understand, I'm not sure what the conditions of approval would for something like this, since it's in the writing.
When the future development comes before you, that would be the opportunity to add that condition. At this time, it's only a subdivision. There's no development on parcel 2.
Okay, so there are no, findings in the staff report and the subject to the conditions of approval is for the future development?
The conditions are for the subdivision only, not for the future development.
Okay, so what kind of condition would you put on a subdivision? I'm just curious, would that be one of them? Because Vice Chair Shively did mention, just considering that we have that the truck route, that the trucks continue to go in the same path and not for future development.
We could make that an advisory condition for future development.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments, questions? If not, if we could have a motion. We have a motion from Commissioner Gomez. Second from Commissioner Lopez.
Commissioner Gomez,
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Jimenez,
Yes.
Vice Chair Shively.
Yes.
With a vote 4-0, this motion approved.
Going to the next. We have item 6B, scoping meeting for an environmental impact report associated with the general plan amendment, GPA 2305033, zone change is 2305034, tentative parcel map 2305036, TPM 35700, condition use permits 2305032, development plan review 2300005, 0005, and development plan review 2300006. A proposal to consider the following entitlements to facilitate the construction of Paris Valley Town Center, consisting of an industrial warehouse building and commercial shopping center on 66.36 acres located at the southeast corner of San Jacinto Avenue and Redlands Avenue. General plan amendment to change the land use designation of 50.6 acres from community commercial to light industrial. zone change to rezone 50.6 acres from community commercial zone to light industrial zone. Tentative parcel map, consolidate 26 existing parcels into 10 parcels and 1 lettered lot. Conditional use permit, permit 3 drive-through restaurants. And develop plan review for the review of the site plan and building elevations of the proposed 848,000 square foot industrial warehouse building on 50.64 acres and 122,027 square foot commercial shopping center on 15.72 acres. The applicant is Joseph Edwards, Lewis Retail Centers. The requested action is conduct a public scoping meeting to review, discuss, and provide comments on the potential environmental impact associated with the project. And keep in mind, we're not taking any action at this time. So we're only scoping to provide the ER to follow, give them additional insights on what we're looking for.
No ex parte? Okay.
Do we have any ex parte communications?
No, none for me.
Drive by the site frequently.
I drive by the site as well.
I drive by the site as well.
Yes, I drive by the site as well. I have not spoken to anybody.
Good evening, Vice Chair Shively and members of the Planning Commission. The last item we have before you is a environmental scoping meeting for the Paris Valley Town Center, EIR. And tonight's presentation will be provided into 2 sections. I'll provide an overview of the project itself and what the applicant is proposing. And the second portion will be provided by Tina Anderson from TMB Planning, which will, she'll go over the environmental portion of the project. Now, this slide is pretty much to inform the public on what the scoping meeting is for. And the purpose of the scoping meeting is to provide information on the proposed Paris Valley Town Center project. And also, the purpose of the scoping meeting is to allow the Planning Commission, interested persons, organizations, agencies, the opportunity to comment on the preliminary assessment of the environmental issues that would need to be addressed in the project-specific environmental impact report. And as Vice Chairman Shively mentioned, no action is required at this time for this proposed project. So this is the project site, which is located on the southeast corner of San Jacinto and Redlands Avenue, consisting of 66.36 acres. Some of the surrounding land uses to the east is the old Kmart building and also vacant land. To the south is the I-215 freeway. To the west is the Chevron station and vacant lot. And to the north is an existing park and a residential subdivision. Here are some site photos of my site visit. This is a site photo looking view south San Jacinto Road. As you can see, it's currently vacant with some power poles. Here's looking east from the I-215 freeway. Here's looking north of the I-215 freeway. So currently, the project site is currently zoned as commercial community based on the zoning and the general plan amendment, or general plan. Currently, the site accommodates any type of commercial-based use. Some of the surrounding zones is R6000, which is residential, open space, which is for parks, and commercial to the north, west, and also south. To the east is the new Paris specific plan area. And as part of this development, the applicant is proposing to rezone roughly around 50.6 acres from commercial community light industrial to facilitate the construction of an industrial building. Here's the overall site plan, and these are the 2 components. The commercial component is actually along San Jacinto Avenue and Redlands Avenue, And behind to the south is the industrial building or the industrial project that's being proposed, pretty much next to the I-215 freeway. Now, here's the site plan for the commercial shopping center, which consists roughly a little bit under 16 acres. So the commercial component consists of 3 standalone drive-through commercial buildings, 4 multi-tenant retail buildings, 2 major tenant buildings, and the overall square footage for the commercial shopping center is 122,000 square feet. There's 675 parking spaces that are provided throughout the whole shopping center, and the project site has 3 access points along San Jacinto Avenue. 2 of the access points are for vehicle access, and the access point that's located to the east, which is on the right-hand side, is going to be utilized for truck access all the way down to the industrial project to the south. The shopping center will provide amenities, including public dining areas, shaded structures with benches, decorative landscaping. Here are some typical retail elevations for the major tenant. Here are some elevations for the commercial pad with drive-through elevations. And here's the commercial shop pad elevations consisting of a shop elevation within the commercial shopping center. Now, here's the industrial site plan, which consists of construction of a 848,000 square foot industrial building on 50.6 acres. There's a 5,000 square foot office area, and there's a total of 157 loading dock doors, which 73 are on the east side of the building and 84 are on the west side of the building. There's 264 trailer spaces, 342 parking spaces, which are located on the north side of the building. Passenger vehicle access, if you see on the top in the middle, that's the passenger vehicle access that will have to go through the shopping center to this future industrial development. In addition, the applicant's proposing roughly around 24% landscaping, which is above and beyond the 12% which is required for the light industrial zone. Now, concerning truck access, the applicant proposes an interim truck access through the driveway located on the east side of the commercial shopping center. And it's the middle driveway, if you notice there, that trucks will come in the interim basis until, however, the applicant proposes the ultimate truck access to a future I-215 freeway Ellis overpass, which is located on the right-hand side. And it's actually here. I'm not sure if anybody could see my... Oop. It's this here, this driveway here. So as mentioned in the previous slide, the applicant's proposing an interim access to the I-215 freeway by exiting the site through San Jacinto Avenue to Redlands Avenue. And that route is actually depicted in this exhibit as the yellow line here. So I'm not sure if the commission could see my red dot here. Recently, there was a feasibility study recently conducted and recommended a preferred circulation route with the I-215 as overpass per the City of Paris circulation element to improve connectivity between the west side of the city and the east side of the city. So for the future ultimate truck access for the project, the applicant proposes to use the LS overpass when it's constructed as the ultimate truck route. And that's what they're proposing, which is shown in the red dashed line. So here are the building elevations. Staff has been working with the applicant to pretty much provide a veneer, different colors, stacking of walls. Most of the concentration of the architectural elements are along San Jacinto Avenue in front of the shopping center and also the I-215 freeway and also the south elevation. Now, the loading docks as shown there will be concealed by a screen wall, which will be 14 feet high. However, that screen wall visually will be reduced to 8 feet by a berm, a landscape berm off the freeway. So this concludes my portion of the presentation. I would like to hand it over to Tina Anderson from TMB Planning, and she'll give her presentation on the environmental scoping. And then after that, she'll be able to conclude the presentation and answer any questions that the commission might have.
Good evening, Vice Chair and Commissioners. My name is Tina Anderson. I'm with TMB Planning and will be assisting the city with preparation of the Environmental Impact Report, or EIR, for the project. Tonight, I'm going to give you a brief overview of the CEQA process for the project. As you know, the purpose of CEQA is to disclose a project's potential environmental impacts, to identify ways to avoid or minimize these impacts, either through mitigation or alternatives, and to promote interagency coordination and public participation for projects. I think it's stuck.
It might be being controlled by IT, so let's see. You want to go to the next slide? Okay. IT, if you could please go to the next slide. Okay, there you go.
Great, thank you. The purpose of tonight's scoping meeting is to provide information about the project and the CEQA process, to solicit comments on the scope of the environmental impact report, and to inform the community about future opportunities for public input on the project. This slide gives an overview of the steps in the IR process. As you can see, we're at the very beginning. The notice of preparation has been sent out, and today is the scoping meeting. The NOP was sent directly to 40 agencies and organizations. It was posted on the State Clearinghouse website, in the newspaper, and sent directly to adjacent property owners. The next step is to prepare the draft EIR and technical studies for city review and public distribution. After the public review period, the final EIR with responses to comments received will be prepared. Sorry, I went too fast. There will be future opportunities for public input during the CEQA process. This includes review and comment on the draft and final EIRs, and attendance at public hearing when the city considers approval of the project and certification of the EIR. The city has determined that an EIR will be prepared and that all of the environmental topics required by CEQA will be evaluated in the EIR. Therefore, an initial study was not required and was not prepared. The topics to be evaluated are listed on this slide. For each of these topics, impacts from construction and operation will be evaluated, and mitigation measures will be identified for any potentially significant impacts. Technical studies are being prepared by technical experts for most of the topics, and these studies will be summarized in the EIR. Specifically, technical studies will be prepared to address impacts related to air quality, biological and cultural resources, energy, geology, GHG emissions, hazards, hydrology and water quality, noise, transportation including vehicle miles traveled, and water supply. As required by CEQA, the EIR will also address cumulative impacts from the project in conjunction with other projects in the city. And also will address a reasonable range of alternatives to the project. The required no project alternatives will be evaluated, which includes a no project, no build alternative, as well as a no project alternative, which considers development of the project site with a development pursuant to the existing commercial land use designation. Because our alternatives are required to focus on avoiding or minimizing impacts, other alternatives will be developed during the preparation of the EIR based on the impacts identified. This slide provides an overview of the EIR schedule for the project. The required 30-day NOP comment period, The required 30-day NOP comment period ends on March 25th, and it is estimated that the draft EIR will be released for public review in the summer of this year. The final EIR will be prepared, and public hearings are expected to occur in the fall of this year. As a reminder, tonight's meeting is to receive input on the scope of the EIR. This slide provides information on how to submit comments to the city. That concludes my overview. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, since for staff.
Yeah, I have a question. You mentioned that there's gonna be alternative studies. Just want to make sure that you guys have an alternative project with only commercial or for what the land is zoned for. So maybe with the full acreage and maybe one with just the commercial that's presented to us.
Yes, and there is an existing approved entitled commercial development for the project site, so we anticipate that will guide how we're going to define that commercial alternative.
Awesome. And then just making sure that we're focusing on the sensitive receptors north of the project on the residence and then Bob Long Park.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. I have a question for staff, or maybe you might be able, I'm not sure who would be able to answer, but can you point out where in the packet it shows the proposed Ellis Road interchange, the one that you showed us in the presentation today?
That wasn't actually included as part of the packet. We just basically just mentioned it in the staff report. We just decided to add that as part of one of the slides, for more information on what the future interim truck route was going to be, and also the ultimate truck route.
I find it unfortunate because I wasn't given the opportunity to create questions regarding the use of that proposed future street access. We just had a meeting in regards to talking about it. And so I feel like it wouldn't be fair to the Planning Commission to participate in this scoping meeting today without being given the proper time to analyze and to create questions and concerns regarding the use of that route, because that's what may have the most impact. So
Perhaps the city engineer might have more information.
Hey, good evening, commissioners. So that item for the feasibility study for the Ellis Evans crossing over I-215 between Redlands and Case, that was taken to council on February 27th as just the feasibility study for 4 alternatives analyzed. And there's information in that packet. I understand the alternatives aren't necessarily shown on this, but it was taken to council, and it was just a feasibility study showing some of the cross locations and constraints, environmental constraints, cost constraints.
right. I was there, so I completely understand what the feasible study was for, but I see that the whole purpose of a scope meeting is to be able to come into an agreement as to what kinds of studies we need to enable to help us to make a decision in the end. And so the first one that came up that was of concern was the interim passage. That's a whole different question, but it has to do with access. And then the Ellis Road as came up as well. And so I feel like I'm not prepared to
Commissioner
ask
Gomez?
the questions that I need.
Sorry, I just want to make sure that we're not veering off topic. Right now is a time for questions.
For staff.
Yes, is there a question for staff?
Yeah, so what can we do? Can we postpone it? Because I did not get enough time to review this
So at this point in time.
with this new information that's been presented to us.
At this point in time, I would recommend that the Planning Commission, through the procedure of asking its questions, proceeding with allowing public comment to occur, and then if at some point you want to make a motion for something specific and do that, then that could be the route to take.
Okay, so I'm understanding that we are, personally, I'm not sure how the Planning Commission feels about this, but personally, I am being told to ask questions, to participate in the scoping meeting without having the opportunity to review all of the alternatives and questions that I would have liked to ask. Is that correct? Just for the record.
She's also mentioning that it's possible to make a motion to
At the end.
not for, again, we're not doing an approval, but to
Correct.
continuance.
And this would be simply because it's been agendized as a public hearing and to have this process proceed. Again, you do have the option of making some sort of motion at the end of the process if that's your wish.
Very well, I won't waste any more time.
Can I offer one clarification on how we are handling the alternative access in the EIR? Although the project does not involve construction of it, we are looking at both options for access, the interim as well as the long-term, when we're considering things like the mobile health risk assessment and that type of thing. So noise, those type of analysis, will consider both options.
You have questions for staff?
Sure. Okay, you stated that we had sent notices to the adjacent houses, right? Can we get a copy of that? I would like to see what that, and I ask because other proponents like this have not been transparent in information, so I want to make sure that we were completely transparent in what the neighboring houses, neighboring businesses are receiving.
Yes, it was, as required by the city, the notice was sent to adjacent property owners within 100 feet. So it includes residences north of San Jacinto, as well as property owners for the other areas surrounding the site.
Did we have a copy of that on file?
Is there an issue with any privacy issues with disclosing that on a document such as this? Yesenia?
Just a copy of the letter that was sent out.
It's the
just
NOP.
copy.
They
NOP?
received the entire NOP, correct?
Right. It's the notice of operation that includes the whole project description, the location, what the project is proposing at this point, and it's posted on the newspaper and sent to property owners, agencies. It's not a special notice. That may be a comment that you want to offer at this meeting for future notification of the project, if there's anything special that you would like the applicant to consider.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. I would like for them to consider and be very clear. One of their first statements should be that there is a rezoning from commercial to light industrial. I think that needs to be highlighted, large and very visible. And the first thing that you see as, I think, as a resident of the area, that should be the first thing you see, rezoning, not stores, not this, which is cool, but this is what we're gonna have. We're rezoning. I also had questions. Can we go back to the site plan, please? The one that has a map and the traffic flow.
The site plan,
Don't lose that one, because I'm gonna come back to that one after, but my brain's working in a certain way now.
okay. For the industrial or commercial portion?
The one that had both, like, the
Okay.
traffic flow. I think it was that one.
Okay.
So we're saying that in order, if I work in that industrial, I'm gonna have to enter through San Jacinto Avenue, go through all the commercial in order to get to the industrial, right?
That's correct. That's what the applicant's proposing.
That's the proposal? And when I'm leaving, I also have to go through all the commercial to be able to go home. Can we look at, when we're looking at this, the transportation impact? Because if we're gonna be making a left there, is it signalized? A really, really detailed traffic study, especially when we're taking into account work times, like shift times, along with, and in combination with usual busy times of a commercial location of this type?
Okay, duly noted. So,
I do want to point out, on one of the site plans, it does show 2 signals
Okay.
being installed along San Jacinto for both of the driveways out of the commercial. industrial. One lined up directly with Wilson Avenue to the north, and then one for the intersection just to the east of that.
Okay. And then can we go back to the slide that I told you to not lose, please? That one. When we're looking at aesthetics, can we do a detailed analysis of what the aesthetic impact will be of our city from even traveling on the freeway? Because that is what people see as far as a representation or entryway in our city in comparison to a commercial. I know you stated that there was something that was already proposed. I don't know how old that is, but I know that commercial expectations, commercial trends have changed. So can we make sure that that is updated to what is current and not something that might be outdated as well? I like that we already have a base, but I think things change a lot. When I'm thinking about air quality, I know that we had something I think the last one where it was also a proposal to do a zone change, and we also had a scoping meeting. Can we include that as part of this overall impact for the area with, as far as our air quality? And specifically with this one, I would like to look at, when looking at transportation, I know that it's interim to use that truck route, but those trucks are going to be traveling right behind houses. And when they're exiting to go left, there's a park there, and I'm assuming there's going to be kids and families there. They're going to be feet away from the backyard of that community. So even if it's interim, it's going to be an impact for now, and we don't have a time frame for Ellis to open. And noise along with that, because if I'm having some carne asada or gathering in my backyard and there's big rigs, it's very different than having regular vehicles. And I think that also goes into recreation, because it would be impacting the recreation area because there's a park right across the street. And I know it doesn't directly impact our population and housing because it's not doing that, but it does impact, I think. I think a lot of people bought these houses under the assumption that is commercial zoning, house, there's going to be stores, there's going to be somewhere for my family to shop eventually. So I think, you know, you buy your house thinking one thing and all of a sudden there's a switch. I think that's an impact to our general population. And really focusing on the transportation, even the impact within, on-site, between the commingling of employees of the industrial and patrons of the commercial. The also the hazards and hazardous materials that will be, I mean, big rigs, we've talked about how they keep them running, and that is also affecting our air quality and may potentially, looking at those, the impact overall of the hazardous materials. And I won't speak to the alternate because we didn't have a chance to review that, but I'm sure there will be a lot of questions about that. Land use planning, also the impact that that will have, because in land use planning, we had certain zoning for a reason, and that impact of that change. Make sure I got everything I had. I think that's it for now. Give everybody else a chance.
I do have a question regarding, I believe it falls under agriculture, the forestry resources. You can redirect me if it's not, but in regards to when excavating begins, then there's the wildlife. We'd like to focus and to see what type of wildlife exists in that area, and if it's how it's going to be affected, if it's going to affect migration patterns, breeding of protected species that may be in the area, especially the burrow owls that we have in the area. And I've grown quite fond of our local owls, because if you walk out here at night, we actually have resident owls right outside. Oh, wow. And they're very friendly. So we love to hear those. At the same time, we'd like to consider how it's going to affect the neighbors, the residents in the area, rodents, insects, anything that is going to be displaced, right, from their area. How is that going to be mitigated? And is it going to be done in a humane way, non-toxic way, so that way the residents and the surrounding areas are not impacted, or as little impact as possible? Also, regarding the hydrology and water quality, I'd like to make sure that we pay attention to how this, the excavating again, and will affect the current water supply that's in the area. It's very, I think it would be very wise to consider that some of these homes, whether they're around 300 feet in the area, away or more, were built quite some time, over 20 years ago, and so their systems may be more fragile than newer constructions. So I want to make sure we consider that the excavating the streets that are going to be changed, or maybe changed, that affect them the least amount possible. And if there is a potential, because for those homeowners, that there be a way to resolve, or to give some kind of relief if it does happen. Because once you start digging the dirt, especially depending on what time of year, you don't know how it's going to impact the surrounding areas. And if anyone starts to see brown water, we want to make sure you have a plan for that.
Okay, I thought of two more. I think I would like to request, maybe if the applicant would consider even sending a survey to the residents in the area, just about the overall project. And number two, what kind of businesses they would like to see. Because I know, I think from being a resident, going on social media, every comment for anything that's approved is like, oh, another fast food place. That's not what we need. There's 3 proposed here. So I think asking our community members what kind of things they want to see. Also, the impact of utilities and service systems. I think with only 2 access points for emergency vehicles, and if it's on the north side and you have to go through the commercial building, so I think response time and access for our emergency vehicles to this location, and also the impact it would have in responding to the community because of additional traffic if this were industrial versus just passenger vehicles. So I think looking at that too, when we're looking at those comparisons about response time, I know if I had an emergency, I wanted to call 911, I would expect prompt response, and if they're stuck behind certain vehicles, it would delay response time.
Well, good evening, Vice Chair Shively, members of the commission. My name is Joseph Edwards. I'm a vice president with the Lewis Management Corporation. We're the property proponent and developer. To answer your question, we intend to meet directly with all of the residents that are affected by this project and have a public outreach campaign that we're planning to do following this scoping meeting to inform them of the project, what's being proposed, and answer any questions that they may have well in advance of us having a draft DIR circulated on the street. Also, to answer some of your questions about access, we've had conversations with staff about this. We've been at this process now for more than a year in terms of getting to this point now where we have a scoping meeting. And what we're showing in terms of truck access is just a point on our plan, knowing the city is going through the feasibility analysis of what they're eventually going to do regarding the access over the 215, whether it's an interchange, an overpass. Those things are going through a feasibility process right now. So we are open to continuing to work with the staff to work through a solution for truck access, trying to be sensitive to the neighbors, and also trying to provide some retail that we know is sorely needed In terms of the previous project, it was called the Venue at Paris. It was approved in 2008. It was for 670,000 square feet of retail. It had a target and some very large retail uses from a traffic perspective, an air quality perspective. That particular project was more impactful than what we're presenting to you today. And with the decline in retail that we've experienced and seen in this Southern California region, we've tried to come up with a project that we believe is balanced and provides retail directly adjacent to those residential homes that they can use and folks from the community can enjoy. So this is just a scoping meeting. We do intend to have more conversations. We appreciate your insightful comments, and we'll take those, and Tina and our consulting team will work through those. So I'm happy to answer any other questions that you may have. Hope that answered a few of them for Commissioner Jimenez and us.
It did. I just want to be clear, because you said you were going to meet with homeowners about the proposed project. I just wanted, again, to be very clear. I live in an area where something like this was proposed not too long ago, and I received the notices, and they weren't clear. They were very vague and did not clarify that it required zone changing. And I'm on the commission, and I got that notice. So if I'm getting that and I'm aware of what's happening, I think community members who don't serve on the commission do not have the opportunity to visit. So I think, first and foremost, I want there to be some kind of notice that there is a zone change, and continue to highlight that we would be losing as a city commercial.
Right, there's just, if I may,
Yeah.
there's two processes, actually. The first is the legal process for CEQA that we have to do, which is a notice of preparation that's prepared to meet state requirements. The second is us on our own reaching out to the residents, the business owners, the impacted folks in the community, and letting them know in a transparent way about the project. They will be aware of the zone change. They will be aware of all of the different details of the project, and we will be available to answer any questions that they may have. So it'll be a two-pronged process. Something similar, there was a previous project, I think the city went through, the project was called the DECA project, where they actually went out and did public outreach as well. We're going to be doing the exact same thing. if
And
not
nowhere
more.
did they announce it was going to be a zone change. That's one of the ones that I'm referring
we
to.
We will do that, and we will make sure that they're aware that there's a zone change request.
Okay. Can we get copy of those things? Can we request to receive copies of the
Absolutely.
notices and copies of the presentations? I requested that after the DACA because I realized they got the principal in here, and I don't think she was informed of that with the high school that was going to be impacted. So I just want to make sure that these kinds of zone changes and impacts our community really are transparent and communicating and taking their feedback serious. So not that I don't trust, I just want to make sure I have all the information I need in order to be able to make an educated decision.
Not a problem. Nathan's been working with us, and we intend to make sure that through him as the vehicle, you get that information. And if there are questions, feel free to contact us directly. We're happy to answer those questions.
Thank you, Mr. Edwards.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you.
So my concern is your statement of retail is not doing as well, but I somewhat beg to differ on our resident to the south and how successful their retail shopping center has been down a few exits, and we would love to have something that's very competitive. But I would like to make sure that this project really investigates that closely and verify. I know the EIR doesn't really take mention of retail components and economic values of something like this as much as what City of Paris needs, because we have a shopping center, but it's changing as well. But to have a new cultural center that City of Paris can call its own would be great to achieve and great to have and great for this area that's actually there. So I think one of those things that should be investigated very closely, not for us, but for the other community members and surrounding community would utilize this as a retail shopping center, would be very important. One additional thing that I see that is important is the truck route to the proposed warehouse. We currently have, you're proposing a retail center along the west side of the entrance, and we currently have the boat center on the east side. I would like to actually see that more as a pedestrian traffic, vehicle traffic, and keep the trucks off that road. I think it would be better if it's investigated that how the truck routes get further east on that route. I forget what street it is, but there's one on the east side of the boat center that should be investigated fully on that. And also the truck route itself, I think I believe if we go to the truck route along the Redlands exit is not a truck route. And it being a interim is not temporary, it's permanent until the alternative is made. And the overpass and off-ramps is just a study right now. So interim could be 10, 15, 20 years, indefinite. So that is impactful. How is it going to impact the current Redlands Boulevard? How is it going to impact the San Jacinto Street that's currently 2 lanes? And then how is it going to impact everybody further east? Because as Paris grows and I believe as Homeland grows, the access is going to be very busy. So having trucks on that route is going to be very impactful from the residents and vehicle traffic versus truck traffic. That should be clearly defined and reviewed. I also concerned about the proximity of the Palm Elementary School, that approximately maybe a mile away or so, that should be reviewed for the air quality, the truck traffic that will be impacted by the residents that are driving to that school, because it is an elementary school. There is a lot of residences over there that utilize that street. And if you review it currently, that exit is a very busy exit. And now you're going to be putting additional trucks on that off-ramp temporarily, but again, temporary is permanent until it's done. So that's one additional occurrence, and I'd like to see reviewed as well. And then the actual impact of the San Jacinto River, being the proximity where it's at, with the impact of the where else that's potentially there, plus the overpass that would be there, and how does that get impacted? Needs to be investigated for me. And again, the aesthetics of the building, that being on the south side of Paris is one of the entrances to Paris, needs to be, again, one of the best Paris has, or the best in an empire has. And City of Paris itself has been stepping up and making all the other warehouses that are visible to City of Paris one of the best aesthetics for warehouses in the city. I think we're definitely setting the precedence in the whole inland empire. My concern is also the 14-high walls as well that should be reviewed as well. We do have an issue with being able to see the trucks at the Amazon warehouse, which that is supposed to be 14-foot high wall. So when it gets reviewed by us, it needs to be clearly defined that this is not warehouses, trucks, trailers, anything is not visible from the streets and freeways, as well as the amount of landscaping would have to be reviewed and make sure it's one of the best, has the best aesthetics and has the best biological resources that we can have in the least, it needs to be the least impactful warehouse as possible if it does, as it comes forward to us. And I also encourage the community actually to reach out to Nathan before the March 25th line date to get your concerns in here. And I hope a lot of people do reach out to Nathan and express their concerns and how they feel this is going to impact them as well.
Can I ask that why we had that feasibility study on the truck route? Was it because of this proposed, or what did we have that?
The feasibility was brought on to help connect the city ultimately for the east side and west side. There's a 2.5 mile gap between Redlands to east, and part of our general plan shows this overcrossing slash interchange there. So we received funding for this feasibility study, and that's kind of how it was brought on.
But not necessarily that it would be a route, just,
Not
it would
necess-
be to connect.
Nope,
Okay,
not
so this
necess-
has
yeah.
nothing to do with the truck route. This is to connect the two
Yeah,
sides?
it's all about circulation for the city, nothing about truck route.
Okay, perfect. And correct me if I'm wrong, but the houses the streets that we just named, wouldn't they also be coming onto Case Road? Right? Wouldn't they be using the same on-ramp and off-ramps?
Sorry, for what
Eventually,
location?
for the ones we just named, the street names that we made under.
Oh, down by Green Valley?
Yeah.
I mean,
could
to connect
potentially be
onto
using
the
that.
freeway, I mean, I would say they would probably use Case Road or Ethan down there,
So.
depending which way they're traveling. But it is an option if they're trying to the park or school or any event up in that region of the city.
They would use it and there would be.
It'd be a circulation,
Okay.
help more of a direct route for them.
So can I also request someone looking at transportation and just the overall street use? We also look at that at the impact, because I know we had the presentation last time of things that are coming, what is eventually going to be there, which I know we will do. I just want to make sure that it is there on the impact that these approved projects already are going to have and how it would be compounded with this. Not just the impact this would have, but in conjunction with everything that has already been approved as far as all these items. And I'm glad you said that to community. I just want to clarify that when you are writing to Nathan or responding to these things, you do have to make sure that you are touching on one of these, because that is the only thing that the draft EIR will look at. So when you're formulating responses or suggestions, it has to be one of the items that the EIR looks at. Because I would have liked, for some projects, I would like to write a nice letter and say it was ugly, but it doesn't, aesthetics maybe. But it has to, like the impact has to connect to the items here, just so that our opinions are taken into account. And I know developers take that very seriously when they're looking at the EIR. They also look at that very seriously, as does our staff.
Any other questions for staff or the applicant? No? Okay. We'll go ahead and open for public comment at this time. I have a list here that we go through. Franco Pacheco, would you like to start off again? Since you're top of my list again.
Hello, Commission. There's a lot wrong with this project. It could become a really good project if it was just kept commercial. I've lived in Paris my whole life, and they have always, I think that sign that said there was gonna be a Target there stood there for like 20 years. And people have been waiting for an actual commercial project there, and for the company who owns that land to go ahead and turn around and try to put a warehouse there. I was actually reviewing their website, and it has a lot of good town centers that are just strictly commercial. I can't find one warehouse on their personal website, so it's kind of odd that they'll decide to put a warehouse here. And also that freeway, it's funny that interchange truck route was brought up because at the last meeting, they specifically said that it was not going to be used for truck routes. And where the money came for that study was from IDI Logistics, who also donates to the council members. So it's all coming together on how corrupt that these policies have become, and now they want to rezone areas that are not industrial. We have areas, industrials, that are meant for warehouses. These areas that are commercial, they should be used for commercial or changed to residential or changed to something else. It can be something better. Even a hospital, Paris needs a hospital there. It would be a perfect place for a hospital. On one of the slides, I saw a golf course. You know, there can be multiple uses for it, and it doesn't need to be a warehouse. We don't need any more warehouses in this area. And when this comes again to the Planning Commission and the council members, me as a resident of Paris would like you guys to really consider and request a third-party environmental study and not go by what the company is paying for, because they're gonna obviously side with the developer on the CEQA topics. Other than that, I would just like to speak to the developer directly and say that, you know, the Paris residents, they would love to see the commercial be developed. If you guys just put all commercial there, I don't think this project would get much backlash, except for probably like the traffic routes and stuff like that. And I really hope that you guys take that into consideration when you guys are going ahead with this project. Thank you.
As we move forward too, I'd like to actually encourage you guys to hit upon some of those topics that are on that list as well, not just express your concerns that. So this is a scoping meeting, so anything that we can contribute to add to the scope to determine how this is a better project and what your concerns are beyond Mr. Pacheco's statement, we would appreciate it. So we have Jillian Minez.
Good evening, planning commissioners. I'm also a lifelong resident of the city of Paris. I just want to speak in opposition to the rezoning efforts. Joseph Edwards and Lewis Retail Centers are here today. They're trying to dazzle us with all their supposed good and their benefits that this project's going to bring to our town. They tell us they're not going to bring one, not two, but 3 drive-throughs to our city, and all we have to do is give them 50 out of 66 acres of land that are already intended for retail and commercial business. As a person who actually lives here and breathes this air each day, I would say that I do not buy it. I can safely say that we, residents of Paris, can see through their lies and their misrepresentations. Right now, that space is 66 acres of community commercial zoning. 66 acres that have potential to bear Paris, and they want to rezone 50 out of those 66. That's 75% of the area that they want to turn into a warehouse and then just toss us a couple drive-throughs to appease us. I agree that spot off of Redlands is a wonderful location, and we can implement retail and commercial businesses, and the residents of Paris would be thrilled to finally have something there. And it's already zoned for that. Lucky you. Also, again, the location is directly across the street from multiple parks, hundreds of homes, multiple schools, homeowners who do not believe we're adequately informed. This initiative is nothing but a thinly veiled attempt to placate our community as the unrest against these warehouses continues to grow. If receiving retail and commercial businesses in Paris is contingent on accepting the presence of a warehouse behind it, then we do not want it. We do not want that control if we have to accept a warehouse. With my remaining time, I do have a couple of questions. One, in your EIR report, I want to make sure that air quality as pertains to emissions from the trucks is taken into account and not just directly from the warehouses themselves, because I think that's kind of a blind side. You know, we've heard them say, oh, well, the warehouses emit so much less than commercial, but it's the trucks that bring in the majority of the air pollution. I also want to note what newspaper and what property owners were contacted. I know we can't give names of the property owners, but we can name the newspaper or maybe numbers of property owners. And then later, what is the proposed method of disseminating information regarding this project? Again, particularly to residents. because whatever has been so far has been inadequate. And then again, I want to second that we need independent third-party environmental consultants, and we don't want ones that are paid by the developers. Thank you, commissioners. I see the hard work you're putting in, and please make it worth it. Thank you.
Liz S. Sanchez.
Hello. Thank you for having me. I want to first and foremost give thanks to the Lituano and Cahuilla people. We're on their land right now, so it's very important to acknowledge that as we are talking about developing on that land. I want to really thank the commission for addressing their concerns. I really appreciate it. I myself work at Paz Elementary, and it makes me really emotional to talk about these things because we're talking about the potential effects of what warehouses bring to our city. And I have some students who I think about when I think about these things, because I'm thinking about one in particular. Not to, throw his name out there. I'm going to give him a fake name, call him Aiden. He comes into my office almost every day. Miss Left, I threw up on the field. I was running. I couldn't breathe. That's almost daily. This project is less than a mile away from that school. And I can't imagine the effect that it would have on the rest of the students, as the other people have mentioned, the diesel effects. I understand that you guys are professionals in your field, and respectfully, I'm a professional in mine, and that's what's happening right now. The studies are not going to take into effect what's currently going on because that's not being studied. I'm there every day with the kids, and I see them. I see the increase in inhalers that I've had to do this year alone. And my kids are suffering, and that's the reality. There's over 300 warehouses in the Inland Empire area within 1,000 feet or less away from 139 schools. Over 600 warehouses surround those same schools at 1,500 feet. I'm not sure the exact amount of feet that this project would surround my school with, but I can't imagine it's much less or much more. I want to also advocate for that third-party consultant for the environmental impacts as well, because what I'm seeing, I work directly under the district nurses. They don't really have time to come here. They're more experienced than I am, and I only have 2 years working at that school. But it's really devastating, and I can assure you that anyone who approves this project has a direct impact on those kids, and they do have blood on their hands. I'm just gonna say it, and I don't take that lightly. I work for the kids, and to be honest, I could care less about the zoning that you have and whatever you want to build. Just make sure it doesn't affect our community negatively. Thank you.
Carla Cervantes.
Good evening, Planning Commission and fellow community members. My name is Carla Cervantes. I'm a concerned resident who saw these proposed developments for further industrialization of land for large warehouses. These 60 acres should stay community commercial. The proposal of changing this for industrial and light industrial is so near to residents and a park and schools. It's only going to worsen the environment and create even more traffic in these areas because 50 acres of this land will be committed to a giant warehouse, which we do not need or want. We cannot allow rezones for more lands to be turned into warehouses or logistics centers because they're creating pockets of pollution all over our city. I'm asking the Planning Commission to deny this request for rezoning community commercial land for more industrial land. Here in Paris, we have the worst particle pollution, and our region has the worst ozone pollution in the entire country. Diesel emissions from trucks cause higher risks of cancer, respiratory illnesses, birth defects, heart disease, that's just to name a few. The Planning Commission, from what I've been able to learn by past decisions, you guys do have more integrity than other places. I hope you all consider and review the environmental effects this will have on residents and nearby schools. My family goes to that park that's nearby personally. And when we compare all of the warehouses that are being built to other areas that have had them for a while, studies in Ontario and Fontana show that long-term exposure to diesel emissions from warehouses, they lead to a number of health problems. Giant blocks of concrete don't help our climate either. It'll make that area hotter. We're seeing studies out of Ontario and Fontana that state how those areas will be over 140 degrees within the next few decades. That's gonna make sure that those areas are completely uninhabitable, and those areas are gonna get hotter because of the giant takeover from the concrete warehouses in those areas. And that's exactly where we're headed right now, in Paris. I'm scared of what's to come for our area, to be honest. There's already enough warehouses in Paris. I know that the Planning Commission isn't in charge of what projects get presented, but I'm just asking that you deny this specific rezone because it's not something that will benefit our area. There are already a ton of warehouses and warehouse jobs in Paris. We need something different and sustainable. A 50-acre warehouse is just ridiculous. The other 15 acres will be drive-through restaurants and some commercial. We don't need another Starbucks or fast food with a car wash. We deserve better opportunities than warehouse jobs and fast food joints. Our topography here in Paris and surrounding areas, it's just a terrible place to put warehouses to begin with. I understand that all the warehouses that are already built, they're hazardous enough. Unfortunately, what's done is done. But as of right now, we need to move forward and deny these dangerous projects. We need to move towards a future that benefits the residents and not just warehouse developers. We deserve air that is safe to breathe and communities that we can be proud of. We do shop a lot here. I know when the Panda Express opened, and a lot of those areas, they had like record-breaking people going. So it's not that people don't want to shop. It's just that there's really not that many areas to shop. I know personally, I do not wine and dine here. I will maybe stop by here sometimes, but usually my money will go to other cities. And it sucks because I want to be able to spend time where I live. I want to be able to come here and make sure that I can be proud of where I live. My parents moved out towards Paris from Los Angeles to escape a lot of violence and things like that that were happening in my area. And when I moved here, it was just a lot more like people ride like on their horses and things like that. And I thought, why did we move here? But now I'm so happy because when I visit my family in LA, a lot of my nieces and nephews, they have asthma and things like that because it's very polluted there. Our topography here, it cannot handle the pollution. But it's a lot of warehouses already developed. And these developers are quite greedy because 90% of our industrial land is already being used. So they want to continue to rezone more land and more land and more land. And we're just having giant pockets of warehouse in residential areas. And I just know that it's not sustainable. So I am asking that you guys consider the residents. I know that ultimately sometimes it goes to the Planning Commission. I mean, not the plan, to the councils. And for them, I'll have words that are a lot more colorful than I'm giving you guys. We deserve air that is safe to breathe and communities that we can be really proud of, not just for now, but for decades to come. I really thank you for your time and consideration, and I hope that you guys get a third party to be able to evaluate these sort of things, because when we were able to see other council member sort of meetings, when we would ask questions from the developers, we'd have environmental justice groups come through. A lot of the professionals that are supposed to be showing what the environmental effects, when they would get asked questions, they had no idea. They didn't have an answer for us at all. So I am asking that we get a third party and that you consider the health of the residents. Thank you.
Nanette Plasencia.
Hello, good evening. So I guess that this could go to the development, Lewis and Nathan. I'm understanding now what these mean, ERA. So I'm getting now that we just are gonna give our opinions and stuff like that. So I guess this would be for Nathan, that the land use planning under that for the CEQA, that is wrong in itself, because it's like you're trying to fit a rectangle in a square where the land is. That's why it's not zoned for industrial. It's zoned for commercial for a reason, because it could go under hazardous situation there for a warehouse, because what's around that area. We have the park right there, which is under recreation, public services. the park right there is all, they use that a lot for baseball, Little League. And so we have a lot of families playing right there throughout the week and on the weekends. And for the noise and for a warehouse to be there and for trucks to be going down there, they're all going to collide in that area. And that's a hazard in itself because we have so many families going down to that park. And then you're going to try to put a warehouse right there with people going to work there and for the trucks to be there. And it's just not made to be there. That's why it's not zoned that. There's not going to be space. And then on top of that, we have a delicate receptacle, there you go, there, which is that park that a lot of families use there. And then on top of that, right next to that park is all the nice neighborhood right there of homes. So that is going to be right against their backyards. And that's another issue because I'm pretty sure they expect all retail. So if a plan could come about, and like they said, the company said that they're going to send out a flyer and talk to the community, which is great. I can't wait to go to that. It'd be great if their plan is nothing but retail, like it's supposed to be, commercial, and a nice restaurant, not drive-throughs, please, because we have enough of those. But we need more things like that. And that's what the community can get around and back you up, because those are the things that they need. They need things like that to take their families to. It shouldn't be rezoned because that is something that is not needed. We are in no desperate need for more warehouses. We got hundreds of them. So the land does not need to be rezoned for another one. So it needs to stay the way it is and use it as retail and commercial for the families here. And that's the best way to go. Thank you.
Mr. John Langford.
Hi, good evening, Vice Chair Shively and Planning Commissioners. My name is John Langford. I'm a representative of New Paris, which is the property adjacent to the proposed site. And we strive to ensure that proper and well thought out development occurs, as do you. And in concept, we are supportive of the applicant's project. However, there are several instances where the notice of preparation specifically called out our property as providing infrastructure and capabilities for the applicant's project. Specifically, the NOP calls out the traffic component, including the truck access route and timing of this route, as well as street alignments, stormwater discharge, and other infrastructure improvements. These items take lots of coordination, as you guys know, and to date, no coordination has taken place. We always want to be good neighbors and assist how we can, and at the same time, we need to ensure that such development reasonably works for us and that it works for the overall community. And we believe that the basis of the applicant's project can do this, but some real coordination needs to happen so that it also works for us and the overall community at the same time. So, thank you.
I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. It's Adam Cardashale. If you could restate your name, if you would, please.
Hello, I am Jairo Carbajal, long resident of Paris, California. I recently just started coming to these meetings about a month ago with my girlfriend, because I hate warehouses, I don't like them. But I'm really opposed for this rezoning. I think it's ridiculous, unnecessary. I'm sorry, dude, but we have warehouses already. It's like, stop being greedy. Leave the land as empty as you want, or put commercial, only commercial. That's all we want. Maybe, I don't know, talk to everybody and get everybody else's opinion, not just 300 feet radius of this, because there's no one there, I would love to see them go for the whole mile, to talk to the whole mile. There's a big amount of people that use Redlands, There's a lot of schools, But I'm really opposed to this, I think maybe if you guys did commercial, like Mr. Jack, said, like mom and pop shops come in. I personally would love to open a cafe one day, but guess what? I have to think about it with my girlfriend. Like, oh, we're gonna have to go to San Diego, more opportunity over there. I don't want to move to San Diego. It's expensive, If like we have more commercial opportunities here, it's like I would love to open a cafe. I hate Starbucks. I know a lot of people drink Starbucks, no offense, I would love to open a third wave coffee shop with my girlfriend eventually. It's something I'm really passionate about, but I have no opportunities to do that here because, warehouses are just taking over all the land. I make great coffee. I'm a coffee snob. I'm addicted. I spend way too much money on coffee, more than the average person. But like, I can make you a cup of coffee and convince you never to go to Starbucks again. I do say that, and I am 100% on that. But I am opposed to this rezoning, and I think it's ridiculous. I think the developers behind me should just leave it as is, leave it commercial. That's it. I think enough is enough. We don't need any more warehouses in Paris, It's just enough, man. It's like I live on the south side. You guys are right. We can go Home Depot popping off, We're getting that new September's. It's cool, but we need a little bit more, Like that would be great to have one off of Redlands. The Redlands is a beautiful ramp, beautiful bridge. It's really nice, taken care of, Not even Nuevo is that nice. Nuevo's bridge is horrible, And it's like, that's the main entrance to Paris. But like, Redlands would be a great opportunity for nice stuff, not a warehouse, We're done with the warehouses, When are you guys going to understand we don't want warehouses here anymore, I appreciate you guys because I went to 2 council meetings so far. Corona, Nava, great people. The rest of them, I don't like them. You guys, though, I really appreciate what you're doing, and it makes us feel a little bit hopeful now. Like we have people on our side. I know it's not the greatest. I know you have to like sometimes juggle around people, but I really appreciate you guys and what you guys are doing. Thank you so much.
Is there any member of the public wishing to speak on this matter?
One more?
If you could, please state your name.
Hi, my name is Aliana Pacheco. I am 11 years old. My parents are fighting for the good fight and trying to make my future bright and healthy. I'm an honor roll student, an athlete, and an artist as well. I'm here because my softball game got canceled, but I'm also here to speak up for my future and health. I cannot sit around like a waiting duck and when my future and health are getting put to waste. I believe that we should replace warehouses with parks, gardens, and art centers, or just places that will make our community beautiful and healthy. I want to see parks, art museums, and happy families that want to spend time in their community. They have to go to other communities to spend time. And I just want to go with my family. I don't want to have to go to like Temecula or other places because they don't have as much warehouses as we do. My school, we have, just a couple miles away, we have warehouses. There's kids, we have to run in class sometimes. So there's kids that are fainting because of the warehouses and it's affecting their lungs. What I don't want to see are warehouses and trucks. Recently, when me and my mom were driving to my softball game, a warehouse truck hit our, all the dirt and stuff and materials in the truck hit our screen and it broke one of the screens. Also, I'm not a future warehouse worker and I don't want to be. Neither my friends, even the people that I don't like, don't want to be them either. I ask that this commission denies any request of rezones there. I have little cousins that live right by the area and they have asthma. They also have a park right by their house, but they can't even use it because of the warehouses and the smoke because they have asthma. I'm glad I don't have asthma and I'm really lucky, but luck should not luck should not be in charge of that. I'm lucky that I'm lucky that I have really good immune system, because if I didn't, I'd probably be in bed. And my poor lungs, they can't take it, and neither can my brothers or cousins or our community. Kids and parents, a lot of them say that kids don't want to go outside. It's me. Kids want to be kids. We deserve clean air. That's all I have to say. Thank you for your time.
Anyone else? Please come forward.
Good evening, and I'm sorry I wasn't prepared, but I come to you as a resident, as a mom, raising my family here. My husband's here with me tonight. We just started coming to these meetings, and it's a huge eye-opener to me to realize how much behind the scenes goes on, and as residents, we're not even aware of. And that's my fault for not being involved as I should. And it goes to show there's so many residents in Paris, and there's only a handful of us here trying to fight this battle. Because I myself, too, am against this. I'm tired of all the warehouses, and more in the issue of rezoning. Why are you taking away our land? You know, I understand business developers, owners are in it for the money, but we're the ones that live here. We're the ones that are raising our kids, enjoying our backyard, and to deal with warehouses, smoke, the truck, the traffic. It's just the impact that it brings to us on a human level. Specifically that area, it's the way I drive to work every day. It's already chaos because the San Jacinto does no stop, and the traffic trying to merge is only 2 lanes. So I can't even imagine the traffic that this will bring. On top of, our son played baseball at Skydive. Our nephew plays football in that other, I don't even know the name of that field, but there's that, school. So this is our community, and I come to you as a resident, as someone that has lived here over, I don't know, almost 40 years at this point, to really consider us when you guys are making those decisions. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you state your name for us, please?
I'm sorry?
Can you state your name for us?
Oh, I'm sorry, Maricela Oviedo.
Thank you. Any other member of public wishing to speak?
Hi, my name is Emily Buenrostro. I didn't prepare a speech because I wasn't expecting to come here. I just wanted to say thank you to you two ladies. You guys seem like you guys are actually trying to fight for the people. I just wanted to say I've lived here my whole life, and I've seen the stars disappear. I've seen the fields disappear. I want some of that back, And the fact that a little girl has to tell you not to build a warehouse here kind of says it all, okay? Well, that's it. Thank you.
Anyone else? Nope. Ms. Edwards, would you like to have any follow-up, answer any questions, concerns?
No, just that we appreciate the input we received. We are thoughtful developers, and we do intend to work with staff and the community on this. Look forward to moving forward with our project. So all the input is important. Please keep giving it to us, and we'll include that in the environmental analysis that we prepare in conjunction with the city. And I'm available to answer any questions, and I think you have all of my information too. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and close public comment. Now's the time if you would like to make a motion or propose a motion. Otherwise,
I got the picture, Jack. First of all, I'd like to apologize to fellow staff. I hope I didn't go off too hard on you guys. That was not my intention. But it really, I hate the but. However, it took me by surprise that there was some items on the presentation that we were not made aware of. And we take this very seriously. And for me to see that come up and not have had the opportunity to do my own background work and, my nerdy research, it really kind of impacted me because we're at a moment in our city's growth where she's about to burst. She's going to bloom. And we're at that moment. So we're like carefully watching every single thing that's happening in our city. And so I promise not to do that again, but I do want to make it clear that those details need to come to Planning Commission with the same plans that arrive with us, whether it's via, email, whether it's on the website or paper, just for future reference. I won't have the opportunity to add to the EIR, and if I can, I'd like to, if someone can let me know if I can do that, because it was not given to us in time, I'd like to know that as well, and you can let me know at the end. I thank the public for coming and expressing their concerns regarding these changes. I hear a lot that there's a small amount of people, residents here representing the city. I would like to see this this place empty. Let me tell you why. Because I would like you to have the confidence that your elected officials are doing what they're supposed to do for you. And instead of having to take the time after work and come here and protest about something that you don't agree with, you could be at home right now, relaxing, watching this on Paris TV. There's a plug. Watching this on Paris TV and enjoying it with your family and teaching your kids what an elected official, what someone who has been appointed to be on Planning Commission should be doing and what they could do in the future. It's unfortunate that the children my mom and dad are here, fighting for our right and fighting for our city. And that, although that is also a good lesson to stand up for what you want, it would be nice if they could say, I love my city because my city is doing the best they can for me. And that's what we want. So I really thank you for being here, even if you are the representatives and you're the brave ones here tonight, because I was there the other day on that side of the podium, and it does not the same as being up here. It took a while for me to get used to this. It's been 3 years now. But being on that side and looking up, it's a different feeling. So it takes a lot, and it's very brave of you to be here. To Lewis Retail Centers and Mr. Edwards, I'm a fan of the developer because I see what you've done in Eastvale. I've seen what you've done in Norco. I've seen what you've done in Ontario. I've seen what you've done in all these other surrounding cities. And to be honest, this design that we saw today, I'm not sure how much the aesthetics are going to change, but it's really nice. And we've been waiting for years for this to come here, and we are so looking forward to it. So I don't want to scare you away. However, we do have potential as a brochure is beautiful, the one you have on your website. I loved it. If you guys have time to check it out, please do. It really highlights our city and what our city has to offer, which we already know. And we know it has so much potential. The one big thing that I want the developers who are watching and those who are here today is to consider that we have the 2028 Olympics coming to Lake Paris. Okay, it's around the corner. And that is going to put Paris on the map. It's going to highlight the city of Paris. Because every time they talk about Riverside County, you never hear the city of Paris come up, whether it's on the news, whether it's on paper. It's very rarely do they put City of Paris, but this is going to be on the map. So if you're going to develop, if you're going to invest, you're going to do it now, because in 4 years from now, you're going to have advertising at millions and hundreds of millions of dollars that you don't have right now. So that's your future as well as our future. So having in mind, this area would look wonderful with a hotel, mixed use hotel, some kind of entertainment venue, maybe, something that would be of entertainment purposes, I think would be really, really nice. Y'all know how I feel about zone changes. I'm not a big fan, especially when they're so near to residential areas. But I did want to make that very clear. And so, if there's any other retail, if Lewis Retail Centers has had any other retail spaces similar to the one that they're proposing, including the warehouse or the fulfillment center that they are proposing, I'd like to see that in the future as well. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Commissioner Gomez, I believe you have an opportunity to, do we have to open a public comment before she includes her comments in the EAR? Or she can just state them?
No, yeah, she can just state her feedback or at this point. I mean, this item was only agendized to be a scoping meeting, so technically no action
Is taken.
aside from having a scoping meeting was. But if there's anything else that you want to explore or provide to the applicant at this time, right now would be the time before closing the item.
I think I made it clear how I felt about putting in that information. I'm not going to ask who did it because I don't want to be mad at anybody. But I really want the developer and who staff who is working with the developer, please don't bring us any surprises. Give the Planning Commission an opportunity to do their full due diligence before coming here, because one time I had, and I'm going to share really quick, I promise. We had an ad hoc meeting with the developer, and the developer's like, why do you ask so many questions? Like, seriously, like, this is the city of Paris. Like, why do you guys care so much? Okay? I said, because we were appointed to bring solutions to city council. We were not appointed to create more problems. So if there's any issues that we see, we need to bring this to the city council, make sure that all of their questions, all of their concerns have been answered, and that we've done our due diligence as a reviewing, as a body who is here to review this application. And so we love our city, and why there's a passion for our town, I honestly don't know where it came from, but it really did, and it's still here, and there's potential. So we want to welcome you to see us grow and grow with us. And I don't have any other motions, but I just want to make that clear. Thank you for the opportunity.
Commissioner Gomez, I would just like to clarify that the staff report under the project description at the very beginning does include the information about the I-215 overpass. We did not include an exhibit, which is something that was presented by staff, just for clarification of the information that was presented in the staff report.
Thank you. Commissioner Gomez or Lopez? No? Jimenez?
Yes. I also was very excited when I saw the Lewis Retail Centers. One of my our family's favorite places to go is to eat at the Preserve out in Chino. And let me tell you, I didn't know this could potentially come to Paris. And I was there like, ooh, we need something like this. I like this. I like this. I like this. I do have a complaint. That place is so hopping, sometimes I can't find a parking. So I think something like that is what we need here in the city. And you're right, all our neighboring developments are hopping because our residents are going there. We want our city to be hopping. And something that I kept hearing, I think, and I lost how many times we said it, was our residents don't express themselves as, this is my city. They say, this is my community. And that is something that I feel is very different, or differentiates Paris from other cities, is where our residents really feel like this is a community. They want to go out, hang out with each other, see each other. I was talking to a colleague earlier this week about how this school where I work and my daughters went to school initially back in the day really felt like a community. You would walk around the neighborhood, go to neighborhood parks, and it felt like a community. And I feel like more and more our city's getting away from that. I also grew up in the LA area, and I want to make sure that we keep that small town community feel to our city. That's an integral part, and I think that's something that represents us, where we're a community. We're not just a city. We're not just a dot on a map. We are a community. We have a community culture, community, like it's vibrant, something that you feel. Like we have an 11-year-old coming to talk at a planning commission meeting. Like that's amazing. She feels part of the community. She feels heard. Like that is really nice. I just want to just highlight that. I want that community feel to continue within our city. I was very happy. I mean, my daughters, the youngest just turned 15, are older, but I want them to continue. I want them to come back and be part of the community. The oldest is over at UCSD, but she still feels like Paris is her community. I mean, La Jolla is beautiful. I want to consider that community. But even then, her heart comes here. So I think that is my main, and I'm with you. I feel like sometimes I come across wrong, but I'm very passionate about the community feel, our city. And as I think all commissioners and I think counselors do when they go out to different cities, we're like taking notes about the beautiful things they have, and we want to see that here at a scale that still feels warm, feels included. I've been to so many holiday parades at other cities with the band, and there is nothing, no other one that compares to our Paris one, because there's a sense of community. You see people you know. I feel like a rock star. You've seen me. When the kids see me walking and they're calling my name, but it's because it does feel like a community. They come out to community events. We support all these community things. So I just want to make sure that when we're talking and when we hear our residents, that's really what we're trying to convey is we own this place. We're part of it. It's part of who we are.
First, I would definitely want to put a shout out for the young Pacheco on her speech. She did a great job on coming forward and braving the planning commission. And I always got the opportunity, as I'm an architect, I actually work with men like Mr. Edwards in their community, their services. But looking for how I feel, I do the presentation on there for them as well, but, I often wonder what developers think of City of Paris and our planning commission. Do we kind of put some fear into them on how things feel and present to us? Kind of curious of how that feels, because being on that side, sometimes I'll be like, oh God, I got to go against City of Paris Planning Commission. I don't know how this is going to go. So that's kind of how I feel about being on the Planning Commission, City of Paris. We want to improve the city the best as possible. We want to give the city the chance to be as successful as possible. And the thought, because of our neighbor and they're putting the warehouses down there where I live closely, I'm concerned about they're putting on the northern border of their city, our southern border. I'm beginning to review on how and where I'm going to spend my money in my community, and I'm beginning to believe I don't want to spend it anymore in the south side, in that southern city. So I want to be able to spend more money in the City of Paris, and given an opportunity to something like this, it's quite possible. In moving forward, Mr. Ed, I want you to do what you can to actually present to the ad hoc community, ad hoc meeting for us, and maybe even present two options. your warehouse option with the retail and a full retail center option as well, if you could. So we have a chance to review both and give you insights on both, how we feel about it, and give you some guidance for it. But I do want to thank all of the community for coming out and expressing their concerns. And again, if Mr. Perez can give his contact information before we finish up today, so people can reach out to you, be appreciative. That's all I have at this one. Anybody else have anything? No? Again, I want to thank everybody for coming out. This is an item that's not going to be voted upon at this time, but in a few more months, the opportunity to rise again. Thank you. Item 7, there's business item. There are none listed. At this time, we have public comments. Anybody to wish to speak to the Planning Commission on items that are not on the agenda may do so at this time. Any member of the public wishing to do so?
Hello, Commission. I just want to thank you guys for all the hard work you guys put in. It really shows that you guys also do care about the city. And I guess I just wanted to state how the Good Neighbor Guidelines, I was reviewing them, and they absolutely do nothing for the community. 300 feet from a bay door to a sensitive receptor is nothing. And I'm not sure if the Planning Commission has the power or the ability to advise the council and city of Paris to change those guidelines and to make them more strict for industrial warehouses. That is something I wanted to bring to the attention of the commission. And also, I would just want to put it on the record that I was here at the last meeting when they presented that route. And they did say that it was not going to be an industrial route, and those properties along those edges were all going to be commercial. And now we see that they're going to be changed to, they're trying to get changed to industrial. That's all I have right now to address the committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I would like to
If you could state
thank
your name,
the
please.
council and the.
Can you state your name? Thank you.
Aliana Pacheco, and just like to thank the Planning Commission. I would also speak about the schools. There's probably 4 miles away from our schools in Mid Valley, Columbia, Thomas Rivera, many other schools. They're all like just a few miles away from warehouses, and I don't think it's fair that we have to continue to live in this environment. Me and my friends want to go and we want to go and hang out outside of the school, and we want to outside of the school and relax and go to the parks, but we can't because it's most of my friends already have asthma because they didn't have asthma before, but all of a sudden all these warehouses they're hurting their lungs, and it's soon gonna affect me and my little brother, and I don't want that to happen. We all want to have good environments and good and healthy bodies, but we can't with that. Kids are fainting at my school because when running, their lungs they're not good. They're hurting everything because the warehouses are causing smog and pollution, and we don't need more warehouses. We want all the warehouses to just stop getting approved, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Right. I'll go ahead and close public comment. Thank you all. Commissioners, do you have reports or announcements?
Just wanted to thank the residents for coming out and speaking. I think it's very important that you guys come out here and voice your opinions, and I think that's the best way for us to really listen to you guys and come with the best projects and really focus on the details that you guys are looking for. So I want to encourage you guys to continue coming out, and for everyone watching at home as well, I encourage you guys to come out here and speak, even if it's like small comments, very quick messages. I think it's very important for us to hear, so that we can make the best decisions and come up with the best plans for you guys. Also, one announcement, tomorrow is the groundbreaking for Paragon Park at 4 p.m. I'll be there. I'll be attending at that one. So if anyone has time to go out there, Paragon Park is a very popular park for skate park, for the skateboarding stuff. So it's gonna be nice having that new skate park coming in. I think that community, the residents in that area, is really gonna appreciate that. Besides that, I wish everybody has a good night, and thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm also going to be at that opening. I promised my kids I'd take them to the groundbreaking. I want them to see how it's the process that's going to happen. I'm excited for it, for our city. I just, on Monday, I turned 45. And yeah, and the one thing that is still on my mind is that we drove all the way to downtown Riverside, because there's this little restaurant there that I love. It's called the Salted Pig. There's a plug. It's one of my favorite spots, and it was closed. But wouldn't it be wonderful if we could have one of those restaurants in our city? So I wouldn't have to drive all the way out there. You know, and I'm just one of many residents here in the city of Paris who feel that way and who do it. So, you know, I'm looking forward to, because I sat and I thought of which place I wanted to go to here in the city of Paris, and there are a few spots that I frequent, but I was really craving the poblano taco with it has like this little a piece of deep fried pork, and it has the poblano sauce on it, and it has like a flor de calabaza, like the actual flour of the squash flour that goes on it with a homemade tortilla. Those things are so good. And, you know, of course you pay for them individually, but they were so good. And I was just like, that's a treat. And so, you know, I look forward to the day when I can go and say, I'm going to go downtown, or I'm going to go South Paris, and I'm going to, you know, treat myself. That's what we're looking for. And I do truly believe we'll get there. It's going to take time. It's going to take some, you know, a few outrageous bursts here and there, but I think we're going to get there. You know, thank you all for coming, and I look forward to that grand opening tomorrow. Hopefully the weather is good to us tomorrow. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys there. Thank you.
I want to start off with thanking all our residents that came out, especially the 11-year-old. My educator heart is very happy and proud. I see our future very bright. I also want to wish my daughter turned 15 on Sunday. So my youngest is now 15. Quinceañeras in the planning. That's crazy. So happy birthday to Sara. But I also wanted to just bring up a few things that I forgot to ask earlier when we're looking at the environmental impact report. We're doing the miles traveled and the transportation. Can we not just look at trucks until they get to the dock, but also take into account that some of them will be idling the whole time they're there? So just that. But I got a flat tire today. Guess where? On Ryder. With the new developments, because I know I brought up Splash Mountain last time. Still there. But today I was just driving down Ryder and I got a flat tire because that road is wonky. Like, they patch it up, but the levels are off. It's bumpy. So somewhere along there, I couldn't pinpoint exactly where, I got a flat tire. So I apologize for being a little bit late. My truck has that slow deflate thing. So I pop up like soon and I was like, ooh, it must be cold, something happened. But then it kept losing, and I was like, oh, I got a flat tire. So, you know, just when we are talking to our developers when they're under construction, just being maybe a bit more careful and aware of the patching up, the way they clean up afterwards, so that the metal plates are terrible and they have sharp edges, and if you just hit it right, it's crazy. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got one last week there too with one of those metal plates, because I had a flat tire on Wednesday when I drove that same road on my daughter's car, got the replacement, and then I got the notice when I got to where I was going, and then today. So that's like twice on the same road. They're new cars. Yeah, and it's on the side, so it is that metal plate. I think I hit it because it's on the shoulder, not like something went in. So just, you know, talking to them about their cleanups because they're getting expensive at my pocket. Other than that, I like driving around our city and seeing nice things, but still that Walmart Supercenter area is still in need of love and care compared to what it was. Remember when it first opened, it was beautiful and something that I was proud of, and people would comment on how much our city has improved, but now I drive by and it looks like not the place that we opened up. Thank you.
So, the first thing I would like to say is, so young Miss Pacheco, there is City of Paris has a Young Leaders Program. With your speeches today and how brave you were, I definitely would like you to, as a young lady, to look into that. And I don't remember what age group it is, but I think you're coming close to that age, and I would definitely look forward to you to look into it for yourself. You definitely seem like a young leader, or could be a young leader. I hope I pretentiously you have high aspirations, and your family should be very proud of you for coming forward. So please look into that when you have the opportunity. So thank you on that. And then I don't have anything else to discuss. So if any other commissioners have anything else? No? Thank you. So we'll go ahead and go to the planning manager reports.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Just want to start off with upcoming meeting on March 20th. We have no items, so you get the night off, so you can continue celebrating those birthdays. We have 3 upcoming events. They're all on Saturdays. The first one is on March 9th, and it's a pet expo. That's going to be a fun event for families to bring their dogs and enjoy a parade, costume contest, etc. So it's going to be at Liberty Park, and it's from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So this coming Saturday, yes. So bring your babies. On March 16th, we have Take a Hike, Lake Paris. That's going to be from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. And it's at the Lake Paris Recreation Area. And then prior to Easter, we have on March 23rd, Breakfast with Bunny and Community Egg Hunt. And it's going to be here at City Hall. And it's going to be from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. And before I conclude, I'd like to invite our Assistant City Engineer to address some of the comments or questions that were brought up at the last Planning Commission.
Good evening again. To Commissioner Jimenez's point for Ryder Street, I know that was brought up last time. We do have a schedule for the repairs between Wilson and a little west of Redlands, which is the worst portion right now. The anticipated schedule is for everything to be complete by April. So weather dependent, we're looking at an April end date. And then for the second item that was brought up last time, Marietta and Nuevo Beyond Mart for that gas station, We're still coordinating with the developer out there. There's a utility pole conflict along Nuevo Road for one of the driveways. I think I mentioned that last time. We're still coordinating with the developer, so there's no real schedule on that yet, but we'll keep you updated.
Oh, one last thing. I know it was brought up, the landscape maintenance for the shopping centers, for the Plaza de Paris and also the Walmart Shopping Center. Our code enforcement staff have been working with them and will continue to work with them. So they are aware of the comments that were made at this planning commission, and they're aware that it needs to some work.
I thought you were talking to me. Thank you all for coming out at this time. We can move for adjournment.